Should I be mean right now or should I be nice? Mean? Nice. Oh.
Hype isn't talked about nearly enough when it comes to album releases. To me, one of the most fun and exciting parts of album cycles is the hype and anticipation leading up to the album's release. I have fond memories of the lead up to the releases of some of my favorite albums of all time. Every pre-release single, whatever new sound and look the artist was going for that particular era, the reveal of the album's title, the album artwork reveal, the tracklist reveal, the rumors of who's going to be on the album, even leaks. All of that plays a big part in building hype and anticipation for an album. Nicki Minaj is one of the few of my favorites that I vividly remember the lead up to every single one of her album releases. I remember waiting all of 2010 for Pink Friday to finally drop and playing Your Love and Right Through Me over and over. I remember the lead up to Roma Reloaded and being so excited that she was about to give us the best of her both rap and pop sides. I remember seeing her debut her far more toned down look for the Pinkprint era and just genuinely being excited to see what she would give us in this new toned down era. Queen was, well, let's just say I was anticipating it for better or worse. It's been 5 whole years since Queen. We've gone through a whole global pandemic since Nicki Minaj last dropped an album. Some artists have gone through 2 to 3 different eras since then. And sure, we've gotten droplets here and there, but none of them thrilled me in the slightest, if I'm being honest. Megatron was, well, that was definitely a song, I'll say that. Yikes was alright. The new songs she threw on the reissue of Beam Me Up Scotty were alright. Fractions was a favorite of mine. I listened to Do We Have a Problem once and never went back to it. Bussin' was catchy and the better of the 2 that were released that year, in my opinion. I actually really liked that one. But after all these singles, I was just ready for an album. I was ready for an era. I mentioned hype and anticipation earlier because it can really paint a picture of what you can expect from an album. And I honestly had no idea what to expect from Pink Friday 2. And that's exciting, but also troubling when you look at the album rollout itself. I'll just be honest, no album rollout has confused me quite as much as this one has. The Pink Friday 2 era thus far has been spotty at best and disastrous at worst. For a veteran such as Nicki, I just couldn't wrap my head around a lot of the things that were happening in this era. The lead single dropping a full year prior to the album for starters, over a year actually. And I always had this feeling that if Super Freaky Girl had not smashed as hard as it did, it wouldn't have been on the album at all and they would have tried to come out with a new lead single. Last Time I Saw You was the second single released only a few months ago, and it's a nice song that I actually enjoy, but it made hardly no noise and there was no visual to go with it. It just seemed to fade as soon as she dropped it. And sure, we got singles like Red Ruby Sleeves and Barbie World, but the latter was for a soundtrack, and the former I wasn't even sure if it was meant to be a proper single or a buzz single or if it would even end up on the album. So out of these few songs, I have no idea what the theme is of this era. What exactly is Pink Friday 2 supposed to be? And beyond the singles, there just hasn't been any notable promotion of this record. No push or promotion or any significant anything to really get the word out that, hey, Nicki Minaj is about to drop a new album. She hadn't made any notable appearances to actively promote the album, such as talk shows or any performances aside from her hosting the VMAs. It just seemed odd to me. Being the quote-unquote sequel to Pink Friday brings forth more questions and concerns. First of all, I thought Roma Reloaded was technically a sequel, but by naming it Pink Friday 2, you run the risk of building unfair expectations of the album. Is it going to be as good as Pink Friday? Is it going to be better? All of this being said, I'm not letting any of my concerns create unfair expectations for this album. I'm genuinely curious as to what this album is going to give. So, without further ado, let's dive into Nicki Minaj's 5th studio album, Pink Friday 2. Alright, so starting out with track 1, we have Are You Gone Already? I like when Nicki's albums open on more somber or reflective notes. It kind of lets us know where her head is at and how things have been going since we last saw her. Are You Gone Already evokes the same feeling as All Things Go from the Pinkprint, and that's probably my favorite Nicki album opener. That being said, this one does its job and I really vibe with it, and I like this one. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. Track 2 is Barbie Dangerous. This one is a vibe. I wasn't particularly fond of it on my first listen, but I listened to it a second time and it had me moving. I didn't have that much to say about it though. I don't see myself coming back to it too much on its own, but I definitely won't skip it on later listens of the album. It's solid enough. I gave Barbie Dangerous 3 stars. Track 3 is FTCU. Okay, I got up and I threw it in a circle a bit when this one came on. This one is a bop, hands down. I'm in love with it. It's gonna slap really hard in the car and in the club, honestly. The beat and the bass are something very, very, very fierce. I just wish this one was longer, but it's definitely my favorite so far. Probably in my top 3 or top 5 on the entire album, definitely. But yeah, I gave this one 5 stars. Track 4 is Beep Beep. This one is very short, like super short. There are interludes that are longer than this on other albums. I mean, it's okay. It didn't move me or anything really. I didn't really have that much to say about it. It could have been left off, honestly, and nothing would have changed about the album. But I gave this one 2 stars. Track 5 is Falling For You, and this is really where the album starts to pick up and grab my attention. I love the hook on this one. It's great production, great verses. Her backing vocals towards the end definitely do it for me. I really live for that. This one really checks all the boxes for me. This is classic Nicki Minaj. It would have fit perfectly on the Pinkprint or Queen. Definitely one of my faves from her and from the record. I gave this one 5 stars. Track 6 is Let Me Calm Down featuring J. Cole. Another bop. I love the beat on this one. This one had me moving as well. J. Cole's verse was really solid as well. I love how Nicki is singing a lot on this album. I just missed that side of her. I really like this one. This is a great song. I really didn't have that many notes for it. I gave this one 4 stars. Track 7 is R&B. This one's good as well. I don't like it as much as previous ones on the album, but it's definitely not bad at all. It's another one that I may not specifically come back to, but I definitely won't skip it, and it'll probably grow on me. But as of now, I give R&B 3 stars. Track 8 is Pink Birthday. This one is a vibe, but I don't know who I need to blame for songs being so short these days. I just really don't understand it. It just low-key frustrates me, but I guess on an album with 20 songs, a few short songs is probably best so it doesn't bloat the runtime. But still, I really like this one. It's very wavy. I liked her vocals on it, but I gave Pink Birthday 3 stars. Track 9 is Needle featuring Drake. Baby Wayne would have been through the roof seeing Nicki and Drake back together again. Up All Night, Moment for Life, and Make Me Proud were all on constant repeat on my little MP3 player back in the day. And Nicki and Drake were meant to be together in my head back then. I shipped them so hard. But anyways, this track is solid. Of course, it's no Moment for Life or anything, but it's a refreshing sound for Nicki. Maybe not so much for Drake, because it's this kind of the same sound that we've heard from him from like the last 4 to 5 albums. I've lost track at this point. Also, Drake on this one plays more of a backseat, really. He just provides vocals for the hook and the little intro, and that's fine. It works. All of that said, this one is still one of my favorites from the album. Definitely a highlight of the album. I gave Needle 5 stars. Track 10 is Cowgirl. This one is the Sex in the Lounge of the album, and if you're a Nicki fan, you know what I mean by that. That's not a good thing. It's not a bad song, but she honestly could have left it off. It's more puzzling than anything. I just don't really get how this made the album. I don't hate it. It might grow on me. It's not a terrible song, but as of now, it's a skip for me. I'm sorry. It's just meh at best for me. I gave Cowgirl. I originally only gave it 1 star, but you know what? I'm gonna give it 2 stars. Track 11 is Everybody featuring Lil Uzi Vert. Do y'all know that one SpongeBob meme where he's getting up and he's going to the dance floor? Yeah, that was me when this one came on. Just, oh my goodness, this one just goes so hard. You cannot help but go crazy when this one comes on. Like, Nicki and Uzi, they never miss. Definitely a highlight of the record. I lost interest with the last song, and this one pulled me right back in. I got whiplash, but this one is a banger. It's a bop. It's a hit. Oh my gosh, like I cannot not move when this comes on. This one's definitely going to be on repeat for me. I love it. I gave this one 5 stars. Track 12 is Big Difference. She debuted this one at the VMAs, and I wasn't moved or when I heard it, but I was going to wait until I heard the studio version to pass judgment on it. It's very queen coded. I like the hook and the production though, especially the switch up towards the middle. Overall, I liked this one. I gave Big Difference 4 stars. Track 13 is Red Ruby to Sleaze. I honestly did not pay any attention to this song when she dropped it earlier this year, or was it last year? I can't remember. I think it was earlier this year. I just wasn't vibing with specifically the Megan diss. Yeah, I'm one of the few people who doesn't like this whole rap girly Civil War thing that we got going on right now. I think it's dumb and it's preventing us from getting some of the greatest female rap collabs of all time, but oh well. That being said, despite that diss, this is really the first time I'm seriously giving this one a listen, and it's actually pretty good. I really like it. I gave Red Ruby 4 stars. Track 14 is Forward from Trini, another one that I don't hate, but it definitely won't be one that I come back to that often. I can already tell. I didn't really have that much to say about it. I do like the production though, but I gave this one 2 stars. Track 15 is Pink Friday Girls. Her flow in the first verse reminds me of Super Bass, honestly, and I enjoyed the Cyndi Lauper sample. Fun fact, real ones know that she actually covered this song that she sampled, Girls Just Want to Have Fun. She's covered that with Katy Perry way back in 2010. I didn't expect to like this one that much when it first started playing, but I actually really enjoyed it. It's cute. I gave it 3 stars. Track 16 is Super Freaky Girl, the lead single in this era's smash hit in the same vein as Super Bass, Starships, and Anaconda. As overplayed as it was, it's stupidly catchy and I never got sick of it, honestly. It's probably my least favorite of Nicki's big hits, but regardless, it's a bop. I feel obligated to give it 5 stars, but I think it deserves a high rating regardless. Track 17 is Bam Bam. If I recall correctly, she actually dropped this one prior to the album release, but it was like exclusively through her website or something, and I just was not going to go through all of that to hear it. But random, but kind of related, this one sounded like it wasn't mastered or mixed properly. I don't know if it was just Spotify or something, but she just sounded muffled compared to the rest of the songs, like it just was not mixed or mastered correctly, but it's good regardless. I was vibing to it. It's catchy. I gave it 3 stars. Track 18 is My Life. So okay, we're at the point of the longer albums where if the songs don't blow me out of the water, then I start to get bored, and this is one that could have been cut, honestly, and it's not because it's bad, but it just pales in comparison to the other stronger tracks. That being said, I gave this one 2 stars. Track 19 is Nicki Hendrix featuring Future. Nicki and Future generally don't miss when they collaborate on a song. Transformer, You the Baddest, and Sir are all some of my favorites that they've collaborated on. This one isn't my favorite, but it still sounds good. They could have titled it something else though, if you ask me. Like, I get that Nicki Hendrix is their joint name, but still, especially for a moody song like this, I feel like it just should have been titled something that they said in the song. But anyway, regardless, this one it's okay. It'll probably grow on me, but for now I gave Nicki Hendrix 3 stars. Track 20 is Blessings, and she took us to church with this one. I liked it way more than I thought I would, honestly. I was expecting this one to be a skip, but I don't have that much to say about it. She sounded good, and I gave Blessings 3 stars. Track 21 is the penultimate track, Last Time I Saw You. I actually really like this song ever since it came out. It just came and went to the general public, but it was refreshing to get this side of Nicki after so long, and it definitely wasn't what I was expecting as the next single from Pink Friday 2, but looking at it now, I think she was going for a right through me moment. I definitely think it could have benefited from a music video. All of that aside, I do love the production. The verses are on point, and Nicki's vocals sound great. It's a very mellow song. I already see it as an underrated gem in Nicki's catalog. I actually give Last Time I Saw You 5 stars. And we get to the final track. Track 22 is Just the Memories, and it's the finale. It wraps things up nicely. Not a whole lot of notes for this one. It does what it's supposed to do. I wouldn't consider it a highlight, but again, it's there to serve its purpose as to close the album out. That being said, I gave it 3 stars. So my overall opinion on Pink Friday 2, concisely, I'd say it's a decent album that overstays its welcome. I liked a lot of the songs. My biggest issue with it is that decent just isn't an acceptable product from an artist of Nicki's caliber. Queen made me lose a lot of faith in Nicki, if I'm being honest. It was the first album of hers that didn't really blow me away. Her music began to sound less distinct and more like everything else to me, and just in general samey. And the rocky rollout of Pink Friday 2 really made me nervous as to whether or not she could deliver something on the level of her first 3 albums again. I've seen a lot of wild opinions about this album, but on my side of the internet, it's been people hating on it or just generally being disappointed in it. And I think a lot of that disappointment comes from the fact that Nicki's music just isn't as groundbreaking as it once was. Pink Friday, Roman Reloaded, and the Pinkprint were all albums that were one of a kind. They sounded nothing like anything else that was out at the time. And I don't think it's fair to compare this album to OG Pink Friday, but you can't really fault people for doing so when the title of the album is literally Pink Friday 2. I honestly don't think we'll ever get another album on par with the OG Pink trilogy from Nicki, and that's okay. Those were lightning in a bottle moments, and those are accomplishments that can't ever be taken from her. I'll gladly eat my words if she ever puts out something like that in the future. Pink Friday 2 is definitely not her best record, far from it, but it's not as bad as you may have been led to believe by some critics. I think the issue here is that we're talking about Nicki Minaj, a woman that for the most part single-handedly revived female rap and pioneered a lane for every girl after her to follow. There are certain expectations as far as quality goes when it comes to an artist on the level of Nicki Minaj. Pink Friday 2 just doesn't reflect that. Everything after Queen just sounds uninspired and bland when held up against what Nicki did in her earlier years. I've accepted that the version of Nicki Minaj that I grew up with is a thing of the past. Pink Friday 2 is serviceable, but definitely doesn't blow anything out of the water. There are a handful of forgettable tracks on here, but I will say the highs are what will bring me back to this album for the foreseeable future. The first half definitely outshines the latter, and the track list definitely didn't need to be this long with the amount of filler present on it. I found myself growing bored of some of it by my 4th or 5th listen, and that's very troubling to me. Regardless of all of that, it does feel good to finally have a new Nicki Minaj album. I give Pink Friday 2 by Nicki Minaj a 5 out of 10. Hi, hello, thank you if you made it this far. So what did you think of Nicki's new record? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Was it worth the wait? I really want to know. Let's start a conversation down in the comments. Did you agree with my rankings and opinions? Did you disagree with my rankings or opinions? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Do you hate me? Let me know. Barbs, please don't drag me. I know you like to tussle, but I love Nicki. Go check out my trio of Nicki videos to prove that I am an OG Barb. Maybe not so much these days, but I've been there. I've been in the trenches, so I get it. But yes, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing and checking out some of my other videos. As I mentioned before, I have a trio of videos about Nicki. I love Nicki to death, but I also have other album reviews. I recently reviewed Doja Cat's Scarlet album. Check that out. But thank you so much for watching, and my name is Wayne, and I am so glad and appreciative of all the love that you guys show me. And I'm so excited to see you in the next video. So until next time, thank you. I love you all.